everybody, welcome to the Pagan Perspective. My name is Angel and I'm your Wednesday host, and this week we're talking about, it's really not a title, but basically what makes something something, what makes a witch, a druid, a Wiccan, a Buddhist. And there's two questions, and one kind of goes through, defines this part of what I just said, and then there's another a little bit deeper into it. So I'm going to read those to you and then I'm going to go over them. Sorry. I had a topic that I'm not sure that you've touched on before or not. I have read some books on Wicca and similar pagan paths, and I just recently picked up a book on Druidry, and I'm having a hard time understanding it. I guess I'm wondering what makes a druid a druid. What makes a whatever you believe in, a witch, like I said. Druid a druid, heathen a heathen, and so forth. And then digging deeper into the question, it says, I'm new to this, and I do believe that that this is my path, and I would like to know, do you need to worship something like Thor, ISIS, etc. to be pagan? So let me touch on the first part, and then I'll go through the second part. As far as being considered something, you have to first think about what is your intention of that particular title. When it comes to Druidry, if you want to be a druid, then you have to say, okay, do I just want to incorporate Druidry and say that my path has a druid essence, or do you want to be a druid? If you want to be a druid and have that label or that name title, there are organizations you can go through, like ADF. The other one starts with an OD something, I'm sorry. And you can go through their program. Now I am going to go through the ADF program, and but not to become a druid, but to incorporate Druidry into my practice. I won't call myself a druid, I'm still a witch, but you can go through those particular paths, and then you can have that title as a druid. Same as with Wicca. Wicca has traditions that you can go through those particular paths, and you can say, I'm a whatever Wiccan. Or you can just study Wicca on your own and then say that you are Wiccan. But it all is going to be what your intention is. What is it that you intend for yourself? I consider myself to be an eclectic pagan witch. Eclectic because I incorporate a lot of different paths into my practice. Right now I'm going to be working on Druidry, but I incorporate hedge witch craft. I incorporate a little bit of Buddhism. I incorporate a little, well, we'll just leave that there. So I'm eclectic in that sense. I'm pagan because I do honor the old ways, and I do believe in multiple gods, and I'm a witch. I practice witchcraft, I practice magic, I practice spellcrafting. These are things that I do. So that's how I define who I am. But I incorporate a lot of different things into me. So I'm like a stew of all these different things that incorporate into me. So my suggestion is to find out what you intend for yourself. Do you want to actually be titled and be certified, if you will, in these particular paths? Then the way that you become that is to go down those paths. Druidry, I'll tell you, being a witch for 20-something years and being part of a Wiccan coven for a period of time, and studying Wicca on my own, I've learned a lot of different things. And my intention has always been to be very eclectic because, to be honest with you, I say that I have commitment issues with things. Spirituality, I like variety. I like variety in my creativity. I like variety in my life. So I will never probably circle on one thing. being in a Wiccan coven didn't make me a Wiccan. I studied Wicca. I incorporate Wicca into my practice, but I'm still a witch. First and foremost, eclectic pagan witch. But that's my intention. Now, the other part of this was, do you have to... Let me get back to it. Does anybody need to worship something like Thor IsIs to be pagan? There are atheistic pagans. I don't really know how that works. I respect it as a path, but I can't wrap my head around it because of my particular beliefs. But you don't necessarily have to worship a deity. You can just honor nature. You can honor spirit. You can honor... Sorry, my ferret is being very weird. You can honor source, universe, what have you. You can, when you're calling, if you call the god and goddess, or if you represent the god and goddess on your altar, you don't necessarily have to have a god and goddess. It can be a representation of male and female, yin yang, that sort of thing. You can break it down to where it's not something that is as defined as a god, you know. I have a good friend of mine who actually struggles a little bit with the concept of god and goddess. And she still finds a way to practice, but she's still working on that. And it doesn't make her less of a pagan. It doesn't make her practice or her, her crafting any less powerful. And maybe she never will connect with the god and goddess, but she's working on that. She's working on that in herself. And that is really the most important part, is the work that you do in this path, because it doesn't really benefit anybody else but you to do the work. So no, you don't necessarily have to worship a specific deity to be a pagan. It's, for me, and a lot of people see paganism or the term pagan in a lot of different ways. For me, my interpretation is it's the old ways, which is a big umbrella. So you don't have to worship a particular deity. You can honor nature, like I said, source, the universe. I know somebody who is like a scientific pagan. It's interesting, but and I know somebody who who's a mainstream religion, but also incorporates like a pagan mentality about it. So it's interesting how people can cultivate that. So we're wrapping up this. Sorry I'm rambling, but I just got back from school. It's late and I gotta get this video up. So as far as what you call yourself, it's what you intend. It's much like, for me, in my head, in my thinking, is if you want to call yourself an engineer, for example, well, you can call yourself an engineer and you may know engineering, but if you want to be called an engineer by the world, then you're going to have to go to school, you're going to have to put in the work, and then you're going to have to earn that title. And that's sort of how I see that. And wrapping up the deity thing, no, you don't. In my opinion, you don't have to worship a particular deity or even a deity at all. You can break it down to something more primal, if you will, or primary, if you will. So, I hope that helped. If you guys have any additional questions, please leave them down below. Always like the likes, and until next week, I will see you guys then. Have a great rest of the week, and blessed be. Bye!